Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Zaku News here on the USA Gundam TV channel. It's May the 4th today, so happy Star Wars Day and all that to all you guys out there. We're going to talk about some Gunpla stuff today. Next weekend is what should have been the Shizuoka Hobby Show, so we're starting to get some of the new announcements of the stuff coming from Bandai here. We've got a few new things to talk about, some pretty exciting things, and some interesting things to talk about today, so let's get right into it with the Metal Build news for today. The first thing is we're going to be getting a Metal Build Gundam Astray Blue Frame second revise version coming out in September for 25,000 yen, and it looks pretty cool. I mean, I've never really been super big fan of the blue frame myself, especially that big giant sword, but it's definitely something like that's fitting for a Metal Build, I think. If you're going to have a Metal Build, the Metal Build series figures look super nice, and it does look pretty impressive with that big sword on there. And it has that new faceplate part as well, which I've never seen the blue frame with that before, so I don't know if that's something new or if that's something that's existed in canon, but they've just never made that in kit form, or I've never noticed that in kit form. But anyway, it has that new faceplate part on there, which is kind of interesting, sort of like ninja looking kind of thing on there. The other interesting thing about this is that it can also be used with the new series of different packs that they're going to be releasing for the Metal Build series figures. So these will be able to be used with like this Astray Blue frame, the Astray Red frame as well, and then also like the Metal Build Strike Gundam. And so the first one that they're releasing in this series looks like is going to be the Metal Build Launcher Pack, which is going to be coming out in September as well for 75,000 yen. And it looks really cool. It looks like a really nice rendition of the Striker Pack there, and it has like the missiles on there, and of course the massive gun and everything all looks really cool. So you can see some different versions of that, or some different poses with that. And also, Bandai also put out some images of showing that pack in use with some different Metal Build, like the Astray Blue frame and also the Astray Red frame. So you can see that stuff on there. That is definitely looking very cool. And then the next one that they're going to have, interestingly why this is the second one, they're also going to have the Metal Build Ale Striker pack coming out the next month in October for 75,000 yen, 7,500 yen as well. So this one, I would have thought the Ale Striker pack would have been first, but they're doing the Launcher pack first and the Ale Strike pack second. So Ale Striker pack second. So this one, you know, of course, is just the kind of standard backpack of the Ale Strike, the kind of the typical version that we most typically see with the Strike Gundam. But this one as well can be used with the different versions of the Metal Build Astray too. So that's pretty cool, and it definitely looks really nice. It looks a really cool looking backpack. So that one will be out, I guess, in October. And then I don't know if they're going to do it like one every month. So maybe then in November, or maybe they'll have a month in between to put out in December, but then the next one after that probably likely to be the sword pack, I would say. But then we'll just have to wait and see. I'm assuming that it'll probably be announced sometime in the next couple months if you're into that sort of thing. Alright, and speaking of being into this sort of thing, here we have the Figureize Standard Build Fighter Fumina Hoshino kit coming out in September for 2,400 yen. So yes, it's another figure kit related to Fumina, and I know that people are pretty split on that. She has a lot of fans, and she has a lot of people who are just really tired of her as a character and her as being a subject of Bandai model kits. So I kind of understand both sides, but I gotta say, I mean, it does look like a good kit of Fumina. So if you ever wanted like a proper, like sort of Frame Arms Girl style kit of Fumina, it does look pretty close to that. And the good news is that Bandai finally figured out to include multiple different face options with the kit. I can assume it's not going to be pre-printed faces like what Kotobukiya does, but it's probably just going to be stickers, like what Bandai typically tends to do, and like what they've done with the Figureize standard Nami kit. So if the Nami kit is any example, that was a really good kit. This one should be pretty nice as well for Bandai's attempt at making these kind of female girl kits, so it should be pretty good. We'll see. For fans of the character, it definitely looks like it's going to be great. Kind of really wish that they would have made this like a year or 2 years ago. Would have probably been a lot better. At this point now, Build Fighters Try has been out for a long time, and they're already moved on to the Build Divers series, and then they've already made a few different kits of Fumina along the way, so for them to finally be getting around to making this one does seem a little bit late, but I guess she must still be popular enough there in Japan that Bandai wanted to go ahead and make this one as well. But alright, then we do have a couple of P-Bandai points of news, so kind of like one P-Bandai point of news and in different forms. So this is going to be the P-Bandai Master Grade Gundam Astray Red Frame Flight Type. This is coming out in August for 6,500 yen. Looks really awesome. I love the flight type backpack for the Astray. I'm not the biggest Astray fan in general, but I do really like the backpack for the flight type. It is a really cool looking backpack. So it looks great on there. This one also includes the like a buku head, which is like a armament that fits over its hand. It has like the kind of weird like Star Trek style shades on it, and then it has the beam saber effects that come out the side of it. So it looks pretty interesting, surely, and it's a very unique weapon to be sure. But in case you already had the Astray red frame and you didn't want to get another one, or in case you had like the blue frame or something like that, and you only want just the new backpack, you can get that separately as well, which would be cool. The P-Bandai Master Grade Flight Unit is going to be sold separately, also coming out in August at the same time for just 2,000 yen for that. So 2,000 yen, around 20 bucks if you can get it at that price. Hopefully in other countries you guys shouldn't be able to get it for 30 bucks. Hopefully not any much more than that, but that's not too bad for a backpack add-on for your Master Grade kit. It does look really nice on there, so pretty sure that the flight unit pack sold by itself though does not include the Bukyu head armament for the hands, so I don't think that's going to be included with that. That's something that will only be included with the full set, it looks like, from what I can tell. So something to think about if that's something that you're interested in that set. It does look pretty cool though. Okay, and then we have yet another entry into the HG Armblood Orphans line here, the Gundam Hajiroboshi, coming out in August as well for 1,500 yen. So the Armblood Orphans line, after being dead for a while, is this year coming out with a couple of new kits. So the first was the Marcosius, which you can see I've currently got as a work in progress here. I'll show you that to you guys pretty soon. And then also, yeah, now the Hajiroboshi, which they're related, right? In the story, something like one is like the Hajiroboshi is the original form, or this is the original form, and then it was revised to that, or one way or the other. One is the original, and one is the kind of later form of that, if I remember correctly from what I've heard you guys talking about online. Will we see any more after this one? It's very possible, I think. So I don't know. We'll have to see before the year is done. Maybe we'll get one more HG Armblood Orphans kit included as well. And then moving on to Build Divers, we have HD Build Divers Gundam Anima Rise. And that is coming out in August for 2,000 yen. So it's sort of like the new version of the Earth 3, kind of, but it's kind of a different. So I guess this is a new core Gundam, new design for the core Gundam, and then it has, of course, the new armor for it. A little bit sort of Super Sentai kind of feel to that, with like the different sections, and especially having like the clear parts on them and like the animal head sort of logos on the knees and on the shield. So it's a very interesting design, not really to my personal taste, but it's something that, yeah, I feel like if you're into that sort of like Super Robot or Super Sentai sort of thing, then it's probably going to be something that's going to be more interesting to you. It does certainly look like an interesting build, that's for sure. So I'll be looking forward to checking out the reviews, but maybe won't check it out myself personally. But then we are going to have a couple other things coming out then too. Also the HG Build Divers Re-Rise On Rise Armor. So this is going to be an alternate armor set apparently for that new core Gundam that is from that kit. So these parts can be used with that new core Gundam. Also can just be used like as a thing on its own, which looks a little bit goofy on its own. But for me, I think it does look really good for some kit bashing parts. I probably won't use it with the core Gundam, but I'm looking forward to getting this set and trying to adapt this to use with something else probably. I think it looks like it's going to be really good parts for kit bashing. So I'm really looking forward to this for that reason in particular. Also, this is coming out in August anyway for 8,500 yen. So not very expensive, 850 yen. Oof, that would be pretty expensive. 850 yen for this. So, between $8-10 bucks for that, maybe something like that. Probably less if you get it from USA Gundam Store, of course. I think that's not a bad price for a set where, I mean, the parts look, relatively sizable and pretty good for doing some HG, or you could even use those parts for like a 100 scale kit, I think, again, for like kit bashing purposes, if that was something that you would be into. So it looks pretty interesting. I think it's going to be a cool and probably pretty useful set that I anticipate seeing in many a kit bash to come in the near future, around the end of the year anyway, the later half of the year. And then the last thing here is, I think, probably the most exciting thing we'll talk about today. Maybe not for everyone, but at least for me and for a lot of people who I'm assuming are just HGUC fans and just UC fans in general. The HGUC Bound Doc is finally coming after years and years of not having like a new kind of proper Bound Doc kit. Didn't know if it was going to be coming in the HGUC line, where it just kind of would have made sense that it would, just because of the different Zeta and Double Zeta kind of kits that have been coming out in that line over the past 10 years or whatever, and even before that. But they're kind of making their way through like all the mobile suits from this series. Slowly but surely, but didn't know when they were ever going to get around to the Bound Doc, and finally it looks like they are. Obviously, I think that this would have been a really good candidate for the RE100 line, actually, because it's a big and kind of sort of obscure mobile suit. It's not a mobile suit that a lot of people are very familiar with. It didn't have a ton of screen time in the anime. And just because it's such an odd, goofy, and large design, I think it would have made for a really good RE100 kit, so a little bit disappointed that it's not, but it is still going to be a pretty large kit. Even in HGUC 1/44 scale, it's going to be pretty big, as you can tell also from the price tag here, as this is coming out in September for 5,000 yen, so around 50 bucks for an HG kit is pretty high. That should give you an indication of just how big it is, and you can see in the image there posed next to the HG Zeta Gundam how big it is. It's not twice the size, but it's definitely got a big height advantage over the Zeta Gundam. It's a big mobile, it's technically a mobile armor. So, and it has the transformation and everything. The transformations are pretty goofy, but I think in just the kind of mobile armor mode, or just the regular kind of mobile suit mode, I guess is what you'd call it. The mobile suit mode, I think it's a super goofy design like a lot of things from Zeta, but it's really interesting and it's a really unique design, so I'm looking forward to that. The original color is also very 80s, but I think in a different color scheme you could definitely make it look a little bit more modernized and very cool. So I'm really looking forward to that kit. Oh, sorry to interrupt here, guys. This is editing Zaku now, and I forgot to talk about the RG Eva Unit-02 that's going to be coming out. So we got the Unit 1 that just came out recently, Unit 0 that is on the way, and now we've got the announcement that Unit 2 is also going to be coming out in September. It looks awesome, but so far, unlike Unit 1 and Unit 0, this one doesn't appear that's going to be having a DX version, where you're going to have two different options of just the normal version and the DX version, which is also going to be coming with some other additional stuff. So far for the Unit 2, we don't have any news about that, just the main kit itself, but it serves to reason that there is probably going to be the announcement of a DX version of this as well, that maybe it's just not announced quite yet. But either way, like with the first two kits, this one looks amazing as well. It was really kind of up in the air as to whether this one was maybe going to be a P-Bandai kit or not, so fortunately for everyone, it's not going to be P-Bandai, and it is just going to be a standard release out later on this year, so really looking forward to that when that comes out in September. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to be coming out now in the next week or 2 weeks, or like I said, around the time of what would have been the Shizuoka Hobby Show. I'm sure we're going to get a bunch more of announcements very soon, so probably in the next video, guys, we'll have a lot more stuff to talk about. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll see you guys 2 weeks from now for that episode. As always, guys, you can check the link down below to USA Gundam Store. You can use my coupon code there, ZakuRelease10, save 10% off everything there on the store unlimitedly, so use it often and for everything that you might want to buy there on the store. And as always, guys, thank you so much for the support. We'll see you next time. Have a good day. Bye, guys.